Hello and welcome back to another child-friendly introduction to photography session with myself, Mr. Bill Welsford. Throughout this course we've been taking different topics and looking at things in a different way and coming up with ideas to tap into our own creativity to take better pictures and to enjoy it and have fun at the same time. This time on our 9th session we are looking at what's called macro photography, but really is just looking at things quite close up. I'll explain some differences later on, but there is basically a whole different section of photography, a whole different world if you like, just literally around the corner or under our noses. We just need to know how to look for it, and they'll improve our pictures. And it's also a very interesting, fun session. So we're going to get close to our subjects, okay? Really close if we can. Now, the definition of macro is making smaller items look larger than they really are in real life, which means that if you take a picture of, say, that leaf is a certain size, and then when you put it on the screen, it's actually bigger on the screen than the real thing itself. So that's what that's supposed to mean. So we are getting quite close to things. Now, the biggest difficulty, I think, with this type of photography is getting the sharp image, because it's quite difficult to either getting too close or you can't hold the camera still enough, and there's a few other things. So that's probably our biggest challenge, is to get a nice sharp image. If you're getting too close and the image is not sharp, you just need to pull back a little bit, and we can edit around that later on if we have to. Okay, but it has to be in sharp focus, otherwise it's kind of, unless it's a deliberate artistic effect, then it's going to look, you're going to delete it basically. Right, so we're going to need to figure out our device or camera and figure out how it focuses and how close it can do. If you're using a smartphone or a tablet, then they can actually focus very close. I'm talking centimeters here, whereas other cameras may need to be further away. You just need to get used to it and figure out the limitations of your device, really. Okay, you may have a macro setting on your camera, which is a little flower symbol, which is quite helpful. You can experiment by using that and see how close you can really get. And you need to hold the camera quite steady, because the light tends to be a little bit lower for close-ups, depending on what you're doing. And also, if you're outdoors, if there's a little breeze blowing, what a lot of macro photographers tend to do is they tend to hold the subject, say a flower, they hold it with one hand, and then they take the flower with the other, take the picture with the other, so it doesn't blow around in the breeze, hence moving it out of focus. Okay, so this can be quite tricky but quite challenging, and also you can get some very good images. This is what I've taken literally in my own garden. I've found you're looking at things close up and thinking, well, that'll make a nice picture, just need to get really, really close. Make sure your image is sharp. Obviously, composition still is obviously a huge one. And I've got a spring on a trampoline on the left, very close-up image, nice patterns there. And of course, I've got a defect in my decking, a bit of rotten decking with a bit of blossom, which has just fallen neatly into the little hole there. Then it makes a nice little image, nice and close-up. Also, it opens up a new world, as I've said. I've got you can play around with this. These are pictures of mine. I was on holiday once. I found some old toy cars and started photographing them by the beach to make it look like it's a real scene. It's got a bit of fun. And then on the right, you've got had a big freeze up a few years ago, and I've gone in really close on some poppies. A lot of bits out of focus. It's a nice little image there, nice little Christmas card image. But that's basically a frozen garden scene there. And also we can get an inspiration from our professionals. Now these are just ordinary items, a spoon and some blueberries, a little bit of water, and go very close, and you can get some immense close-up details, and it looks almost like it's from a different planet. It's almost, you wouldn't notice it normally. Right, so let's have a little bit of background. This is for the advanced section if you want to do that. So, strictly speaking, macro is what they call 1-to-1 ratio, meaning the subject is as small as the camera sensor itself, and therefore its actual size. Macro mode is a close-up feature on a lens. Specific macro 1-to-1 lenses will be able to do this. This is on SLR cameras and DSLRs. They have the specific word macro 1-to-1 written on them, and they're usually around about 90 millimeters or 100 millimeters, something around about that, sometimes 50, but they are specific to do specific work. If you have another camera, it may have the word macro on it, but it's not really. It's just a close-up feature, which you just need to check the limitations of your camera. All right, so that's pretty much it. Now let's get close. I've seen some very good quality pictures taken from young students in a short space of time, and it's a good little fun activity, and you can apply that when you're out on traveling, on holidays, or on trips, or even closer to home with little hobbies and things like that. You can get really close images, almost abstract. There's a lot of outlets there for you. Anyway, enjoy that, and I shall see you on the next module, and keep on photographing. Well done.